I'm Patricia, and this is Investigating Vegan Life with Patricia Kathleen. This series features interviews and conversations I conduct with experts from food and fashion to tech and agriculture, from medicine and science to health and humanitarian arenas. Our inquiry is an effort to examine the variety of industries and lifestyle tenets in the world of vegan life. To that end, we will cover topics that have revealed themselves as common and integral when exploring veganism. The dialogue captured here is part of our ongoing effort to host transparent and honest rhetoric for those of you who, like myself, find great value in hearing the expertise and opinions of individuals who have dedicated their work and lives to their ideals. You can find information about myself and my podcast at patriciakathleen.com. Welcome to Investigating Vegan Life. Now let's start the conversation. Hi everyone, welcome back. I am your host Patricia, and today I am sitting down with Helen Buley. Helen is a health and energy coach. You can contact her on her website, www.youroptimumhealth.co.uk. Welcome, Helen.
Hi.
Hi.
It's such a pleasure to be here.
It's good to have you. I'm excited to be speaking with you. And as always, for everyone listening during this time of recording and podcasting during COVID, if there is a slight delay, we apologize. We'll get whatever we can in post to clean up, but we are dealing with a crowded internet and between Helen and I, a bit of a continent reach as well. I'm going to read a quick bio on Helen before I start peppering her with questions. But prior to that, I'll offer everyone listening a roadmap of today's podcast so you can kind of follow the trajectory as we crawl through it. I will first look at Helen's academic and professional background, and then I'll turn my attention towards her vegan story and some of her journey therein, as I know that a lot of her business endeavors are based out of that own personal testimony. Then we'll look at current endeavors that Helen has going on, projects and programs, namely the 21 Days to Better Health and Energy that she's currently working on. And then we'll look forward to the future and talk about some of the specifics about what she's doing, as well as the scene of what her perception is as the vegan life and the vegan scene, not just in the UK, but any other areas in this world that she's kind of trotted into. A quick bio on Helen. Helen is one of the most sought after health and energy coaches in the UK. She helps spiritual men and women to move away from feeling stuck and lacking in energy to feeling fully empowered, in flow and full of energy. Using a wide array of tools and techniques, including powerful coaching, healing, and breathwork and nutritional therapy. She is the perfect blend of love and challenge and regularly goes on deep coaching and transformational adventures with her clients in nature. Her own journey of health to wellness over the past 10 years will inspire you as she struggled with digestive issues, anxiety, and many other challenges, but is now living the life of energy and vitality she never imagined possible. Helen is now on a mission to help 1 million people to transform their level of health and vitality by the year 2030 through her coaching programs and up-and-coming festival and her signature 21 Days to Better Health and Energy program. So Helen, I'm really excited to climb into all of your different programs. It sounds like you're kind of prolific on, your organizational front and how you really come at helping people. But before we get into that, can you draw us a platform of what your educational life and professional background was prior to coming to where you're at?
Absolutely. So if you really want to go all the way back to when I went to university, I actually studied something completely different to what I'm doing right now. And that is, I was studying sociology and criminology. So I was really interested in looking at the kind of behavioural patterns of society. And even though that still interests me, particularly with my business and the vegan aspect, I actually decided to do a bit more exploring. And can you hear me okay?
Yes, absolutely.
I decided to do loads of exploring and go traveling. And my biggest journey, my biggest life lessons were literally seeking out adventure around the world. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of where it all began for me, because it opened up a whole new world and a whole new understanding of different cultures, of different lifestyles, of different opportunities, of the ability to actually go and live your life. And when I came back to the UK, I was so frustrated and like lost, because everyone was stuck in this kind of like go 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 mindset, like
Right.
9 till 5 if not longer, and constantly in this rat race, and I was actually like not able to deal with that. So to be honest, that's where it all started, and I realized, having been traveling, that there were many issues that I hadn't addressed, and I noticed how they were continuous and prominent, like with my digestion and all sorts of things, with my anxiety. And having been traveling, I think it awoke me to actually the kind of holistic view on life, and it made me think, there's actually something that I can do about my health here.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't think that didn't click initially, because I was kind of caught up in this world here in the UK until I went exploring. I was like, well, why don't I explore my own health and my own issues in my digestion and my anxiety and my acid reflux, which were, not completely taking over my life, but they were really like niggling at me, like you're getting a hammer and a chisel, like slowly over time. And I was just like, they're just not going.
Did it now really
So
quickly, did those grow? I read on your bio too, on your website. I really like your candid kind of history of your health. Did those grow throughout your young adulthood, or were those with you from childhood? Can you kind of indulge a little bit further onto how plagued you were? Did they keep you up at night? Like, what kind of level of intensity were you feeling? Because you did say that you had acid reflux and gut issues, digestive problems. Can you kind of speak a little bit more to that?
sure. Do you know, it's really hard to actually pinpoint when exactly it started, because it kind of all blurs into one. But what I can tell you is that when I was at university, I had really bad skin, and I had the perfect skin when I was 18. Everyone was like, how is your skin so amazing? And I was like, oh, I don't know, just obviously got away with the no spots thing, and puberty served me well. And then as soon as I got to university, all of a sudden I broke out in spots,
Mm.
and I was anxious all the time, and I was stressed. And it was kind of from then, actually, that all of these issues started to happen. And so my digestion was like frustrating, because I tried to work, I tried to really understand why I was suffering from bloating and really embarrassing, but gas all the time, and like constant pain and constant just like discomfort. And the thing that was the worst for me was my reflux. And
Mm.
I think, actually, no, I'm just thinking back. Sorry, I'm like thinking out loud. My acid reflux started when I was 16. I remember I had my first alcoholic beverage of Bailey's, and I had a whole pint. This is really embarrassing and really like
Yeah.
really hot. Like, many people might do that now, but the thought of me doing that now, I'm just so appalled at myself.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a whole pint of Bailey's. When you're 16, you just kind of do what your friends do.
Yeah.
And the next day I woke up and my throat was just burning, and I was thinking, what is this? I feel like I'm gonna die.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sat over the toilet, just like, oh, I don't know what to do. And all my friends were still asleep and hungover, and I was just there like, oh, I need to be sick, but I couldn't be sick, and just had to put up with it. And that's where it began. Thank you for remembering, Helen. That's where it began, and it was just prominent throughout my 20s. It kind of like fluctuated, so it came back and then it went, and then it came back and then it went. I went to see a doctor, and he gave me anti-acid tablets, which are one of the most prescribed medications in the world, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I think the most prescribed, and that's just saying something. And so I was like, I'm taking these tablets, cool, they're actually helping. And I would go out drinking, and I would get like acid reflux, and then I'd take my tablets, and then I'd like go through a phase of taking my tablets.
Yeah.
And then I didn't get it when I was drinking and having my they were called lansoprazole and omeprazole. Well, I didn't get the acid reflux, and then I just thought, well, I don't want to be on tablets my whole life. What? Why am I on tablets?
Yeah.
This is just crazy. And so I can't remember what your question is, but
No, that answers it. I mean, I kind of was wondering the intersection of how it affected, as youth, we kind of endure more than, one would in adulthood. And so things can be inhibiting one's life for a long period of time in your 20s before you actually acknowledge it. If it's not killing you or preventing you from going out and having a pint, you're going to just continue doing things. And so it sounds like you were tolerating it until it kind of hit you. Exactly. You'd be on medication for the rest of your life if you wanted to socially engage as well. So was it at that time that you started to realize that you had, it sounds like perhaps even an allergy, I don't know, to lactose or milk or something like that. Is that what started your vegan journey? Did you start reading into what was affecting you personally and then come upon like a vegan lifestyle?
Yeah, good question. So it all started with, I don't remember when it was, but I had a light bulb moment one day, and I just thought, I don't want to be on medication. I know what it was. I went to see the doctor again because I was having all these issues. And he was like, oh, well, we'll prescribe you with antacids. And I was like, I was prescribed with them like 6 years ago. I don't want to be on them again. And then this light bulb just went off in my head, like, I can find the root cause here. There's something causing my reflux. There's got to be something causing it, because sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. And that opened up a whole load of questions for me. And I had tried little intervals of like cutting out dairy and cutting out wheat and like in the space of 2 weeks, but knowing what I know now, that's just not enough time to really give your body the time to heal and move away from what it was struggling with in the past.
Right.
So I decided to just ask questions. And actually I had a friend who was doing a 30 days plan, which was a vegan plan. And I was like, do you know what? I'm going to do this and I'm going to see if it makes a difference, because I think it might be dairy. So it's going to eliminate dairy anyway. And there was no wheat in the plan too. So I was like, well, I'll just do that and I'll see if it's the two together. I'll just see how I go. And then after 30 days, the first 2 weeks, I was a bit like, oh, not feeling great. But then after then, I just started to feel like something had lifted. And then 30 days passed and I thought, I don't want to stop this. I want to keep continuing this because I feel so good. And that's kind of how it started for me, because I kind of accidentally fell into it. And then the word vegan, like I didn't really know what that meant. I didn't really understand it. But then all of a sudden I realized I was technically vegan because I wasn't having any animal products. And 2.5 months later, I remember I went to my auntie's house and she was serving up, like my family had heard that I'd been eating vegan, and they got a bit funny about it, to be honest. I'm sure you had that story too.
Sure.
And then she served up some food and I was like, there's literally nothing I can eat. Well, there was some peas and potatoes and that was fine, but like I was just like, okay, well there's chicken. And I picked up a bit of chicken and I just thought, I just smelt it and I just took a bite, and I swear to God, it was the most just life-changing experience. And I just got this, like someone had smacked me in the face with a brick or something, and I was like, I can physically taste an animal and I can smell, it literally, I thought it was going to be sick. I've got goosebumps now just talking about this. And it just clicked and I was like, why do people eat animals? and then a dog walked past and I was like, all these things started to go off in my head. And that was the beginning of my vegan journey. And I started to really dig deeper and explore and really understand what veganism is and what the impact is on the animals. And I didn't know the impact that was happening in the world in terms of the environment. And I was so upset. I literally had spent the next year in an emotional state. In fact, that year I started studying, but I was so depressed and so just frustrated that no one was understanding me. I was the first person out of all my friends and all my family that decided to have no animal products. I had one friend who was a vegetarian, but even she was saying like, you need calcium, you need calcium from milk. And I felt so alone and so upset and frustrated. And it was a really hard time for me. And I don't say that for sympathy at all, but it helped me put into perspective what people go through when they have a belief about something, or they have a passion or an insight into what's good to do in the world, when so many other people don't have the same view.
Yeah.
And it was like, so I felt so alone. And then I was like, what can I do about this? So I wanted to study, I wanted to reach out to people. And actually on that first year's journey, I found an addiction to sugar, which I think a lot of vegan beginners, I want to say, first time vegans have, right? So
Yeah.
when you're addicted to sugar, you kind of, and it's like a cycle, because you feel sad and upset and emotional, and you go for the sugar, and then that's that makes you feel worse. I've actually done some tests into my own blood sugar levels and how high they went when I was having sugar, for various reasons. And I couldn't believe the results that came out. And I could then see that was impacting my anxiety. And for anyone watching, listening, sugar and anxiety are so correlated. I didn't realize how much of an impact sugar had to my anxiety levels. And it wasn't until I started to really reduce my sugar and felt the difference, I thought, oh my God, I feel so much better in my health, my well-being, my confidence. I would get random spouts of anxiety for no reason, because I was indulging in all this sugar. But it's not an easy situation to get out of, because it's, it gives you a dopamine hit in your brain. It's very addictive, and it takes a lot of discipline to reduce that. So hopefully that makes sense. And then I went on to study, and it kind of, my studying began then. And then I realized I need to help people with this. I want to share my story, and I want to take my passion and put that into a business. And that's where I am now.
Absolutely. I'm curious, when you, I don't know, we were talking off the record before we started podcasting. I don't know what the UK scene is. I do know a lot about other European countries that I frequent a lot, but I don't know. And I'm not sure what year it was that you kind of put down the chicken at your auntie's house and said, this is awful. But did you have a group of people you could, kind of embark on, or was it a lone journey? I know it's always a lone journey, even now, that we have these incredible films and people kind of coming over to the vegan lifestyle for a plethora of reasons. But it is, and I do want to touch on what you said, which was, this kind of maverick moment where it just seems like you're just all alone questioning food. And food is medicine, and it's an addiction. And anytime you come into telling anybody, I've never made people more quickly angry than by telling them that I'm a vegan. People I don't know, people who could possibly love me if they gave me a chance, but these concepts of like, you're challenging their family, their identity, their livelihood, their addiction, their medicine, all of these different things. And so it's such a heated, and I don't think that people realize that out the gate, to become vegan it requires such a strength. And it's usually such an isolating journey, at least in the beginning. It's interesting that yours began like that. But as far as the UK is concerned, when you first started kind of venturing into veganism, can you give us a yearish time frame? And also, what was the community like at that time, and has it grown since then?
I was I 25, 26? So it was about 2015. Yeah, and veganism, it's hard to tell, because I didn't help myself, because I was actually hiding for a lot of maybe the first 6 months. I was hiding because I was like, actually in like a stuck mentality. And I think that's why I'm really passionate about helping people get out of that kind of stuck mentality. But I was in the stuck mentality. I didn't really know what to do. I didn't know who to turn to, and I just hated life. I didn't hate life. I've always been quite positive, but there was just this phase where I just thought, what the F is going on in the world, and I feel powerless, and I don't know what to do about it. And, you just go through that stage. So what at the time, the only thing I knew about was there was a festival called Veg Fest, and it was being held. There's actually like the leaps and bounds the UK has come on now. in terms of veganism, and like products available and festivals and groups and all sorts is amazing. But then it was, I mean, it was probably more than I could see at the time, because I was having a very narrow mind with it because of my location. But I did travel to Bristol, which is not far, maybe 2.5 hours from me, to go to a festival there, the very first vegan festival. And I was so relieved, so relieved. And I met people for the first time. I went to talks. I tried food. I felt positive for the first time in my journey, because I realized I wasn't on my own. And so for anyone who is making a transition and feels on their own, just go and meet people and chat to them and join a community, because you don't have to be on your own. There's so many people out there that are going through the same experience without you maybe even realizing. And the internet is obviously great for that now, because you can see on Facebook there's communities and groups. Yeah. And then I joined the vegan Reading group, which is where I live. And so it kind of evolved from there. And then I made friends, and then they invited me to stuff, and then it was kind of evolving. And then when I joined my course, I made friends there, and I kind of took another step along the line, and it was, yeah, it kind of started there.
Built up. Yeah. And I think it has been, I think you're right. Particularly, I always equate it, and I'm not sure if it's just in the United States where I began my vegan story or anything else, but I feel like it was with the advent of social media, largely around me, you know, vegan, there was still a very kind of old school vegan, and I captured a lot in food, but vegan for me is an entire universe. And it's this podcast series, you know, there's vegan fashion, there's, I mean, Stella McCartney, but there's, you know, there's a lot of different powerful vegan players globally that make up the universe. However, in food, that's how I kind of identify the old versus the new. And you had like Buddhist monks and hippies, and then, you know, and then people who were just kind of getting into it because they didn't want to live that lifestyle. And it didn't really change for me until right around when you came into it in 2014, 2015, the advent of social media, again, groups, Veg Fest all over the world, different Veg Fest people getting together. But it really has been kind of the renaissance, I think, of the movement, which is why I think it's exciting to talk about it now, because we're all still in a time moment when we can think back, and there, you know, we felt alone. Like there just weren't a lot of people talking about it. And if they were, it was hard to identify. I remember trying to talk to parents who, you know, were thinking that being vegan was abusive. It was a crazy time period. And now there's like mommy groups for it, you know, and all sorts of things. Yeah. But climbing into now what you're doing with your story, because it sounds like your impetus for your career and what you're doing right now is based on this, you know, this personal history you have with health and how that's attached to eating a vegan diet and lifestyle. Can you kind of climb us through? So, you know, we're going to hit your website, your optimumhealth.co.uk, and you have some services, you have background information, and then you also have this new program, 21 days. I don't know if it's new, I think it's starting soon, but 21 days to better health and energy. Can you kind of walk us through some of that?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so where do I begin? When I was studying and when I was going through my own health journey, I actually used myself as an experiment, to be honest. And the reason why I'm so passionate about where I am now is because I got myself through lots of different obstacles. And not only was that in my health, it was also in my confidence. And I could see all sorts of patterns. Like I opened up more spiritually. I can't believe how much of an impact it's had on my well-being in that sense. But also my confidence levels have just been so profound, just because I have found that empowerment in choice over what I'm eating, and empowerment in the fact that it's my body and I'm now in control of what I'm putting in my body. But along the way, I realized, and I think that many people can relate to this who are in the same industry and coaching and being with clients, that it's all well and good having the perfect diet, which I have learnt is just the most amazing thing for immunity, optimal health, everything, alertness, everything. But it's also the fact that people, if people are experiencing, including myself that went through this, any kind of emotional trauma from their childhood or any kind of emotional journey, food is a really good representation of their relationship to themselves and how they're dealing with their emotions.
Yeah.
So for me, it started off with the nutritional therapy, and I still do this with my clients. I'll look at the root cause. Very often we'll be told, take a pill for your headache, or have an anti-acid tablet for your acid reflux. But what I like to do is I actually like to work with people and look at what's going on with them at the moment, and what's actually causing them to feel that way, or to have the health condition that they have. So because of my history and my education around the root cause, looking at the root cause, I always go into that with my clients. But the emotional side is another level, and I saw that and I experienced it for myself. And what I really love is that it starts with food, but then it becomes confidence, empowerment, and really powerful coaching and healing, which is just brings me so much joy. And again, along the way, I've opened up spiritually, and many people will laugh at me because I'll go and hug a tree, or I'll go and like bare feet on the ground, on the grass. I'm a Capricorn, so I'm an earth sign, and that just feels great to me. So I will go and ground my feet, and I'll go hug a tree, and I feel that energy more than ever before. And I've just awoken to the fact that there's a life out here to live, and I don't have to be like stuck in a trap of bad health, bad job, feeling shit about myself. I don't want to be stuck in that trap, and I don't want other people to be either. So that's where the kind of coaching, the powerful healing, powerful coaching and healing comes in, because I don't want people to be stuck like I was in this mentality of, oh, this is all, I'm just gonna have to put up with this forever. You know what I mean? And I think I'm one of those people, I like to just like throw myself into all sorts of things. So my coaching can sometimes be a bit spontaneous, but I love that because it's very personal to the person I'm working with, and we kind of I just work with what's right for them. But that leads me up to the 21 Days to Better Health and Energy program that I'm going to be running on May the 17th. And the reason why I wanted to bring this in currently is because I've spoken and seen many people in lockdown who are turning into couch potatoes. They feel shit about themselves. They are eating emotionally. They are snacking on food they didn't even realize they had in their house. And also there's foods that aren't available. So people are just kind of snacking on whatever they've got. But the deep-rooted thing is, the deep-rooted issue and the root cause is usually around how we're dealing with our emotions. So what I want to do is bring together a community of people who really want to transform their energy, transform their health, and get themselves out of this kind of rut of slouching around, being stuck, not feeling like they can get anywhere. And I know a lot of people who are working from home who are in the same situation, and they're actually not mentally able to get on with their work because they're right. Emotionally struggling. So that's why I wanted to bring this in now more than ever, because people are really stuck and they're not really sure what to do. So I want to create community and a group scenario where I can coach people and bring in new habits and get them from where they are now to feeling like the best version of themselves, the most empowered and energized version of themselves they didn't even know was possible.
So is the format going to be based on challenges? Does it incorporate diet, exercise? Is it based on, how did you come together with all of the components, and what kind of components have you addressed in it?
Yeah. So I split it into 3 sections. The first section is around vulnerabilities, and this program is going to be a case of really trusting. If you think this is the right thing for you, you've got to just kind of trust in and be open to being honest with yourself and being honest with people you perhaps haven't met before, but knowing that you're in a safe space and a loving space, because that's the space I want to create. So the first section is being vulnerable and actually understanding what's going on with you, because it's easy to just forget or just not recognize that and just ignore it and push it to the side. But it's really important to recognize that vulnerability and open up and share as a group and share as a community and relate to people and see that you're not on your own. And then the second thing I wanted to work on was limiting self-belief. So understanding what's actually going on in your mind, what's going on in your world, and how you can move forward, and then actually implementing those things. Sorry, not implementing those, but implementing new found habits, so healthier habits. So I'll be talking about certain recipes and just certain foods that you can bring in for a better immunity, to lower the inflammation, and that comes down to plant-based foods always, because they are the lowest inflammation foods in the body. And generally so I'll be doing morning and evening lives, and in the morning what I want to do is I want to bring people to the 21-day thing is because of the habit. So the theory is that 21 days will build a new habit. I'm convinced it's more than that, but I'm going to stick with 21 days because I think that's as much as I can do in the program. But I want to help people start the day in the right way, with meditation, with gratitude, with actually moving their body a little bit and just doing some breathing, and I want it to be quite flexible, where people can, come and go as they please, but also remember that there is an element of responsibility, and if you want to take control of your life, then, and you want to commit to it, I personally would say throw yourself in. And in the evenings, get into a habit of just coming up with one thing, one little win that you've had for the day. And so habits like that just get you thinking differently, acting differently, choosing different foods, recognizing what's going on with you, all sorts. And so that's kind of, I don't know if that makes sense, but
oh, it does, especially right now during the quarantine. I think you're right. I think that you've hit the nail on the head. I don't know of anyone from people who are running countries all the way down to people who are just trying to run themselves, that don't have this kind of new relationship and miscommunication with their lifestyle, regardless of how regimented or anything else. This constant like renegotiation when you're self-governed at home, it's daunting for a lot of people. And so I think to engage in something like this, where you reunite with a new form of community and a new goal and a new way of looking at things, at very least will shake things up, right? Which is a lot of times what we need.
100%. And you're right. This is something that none of us have ever experienced ever before in our lives. And it's bringing up fear. It's bringing up these vulnerable feelings. It's bringing up like a new skill of resilience and adapting, which is unfamiliar for most of us. And so working through those things, recognizing them, and coming out the other side with better habits, and actually understanding you're not on your own is such an amazing leap to go through. Yeah. And what I wanted to bring in at the end as well is physical stuff. So getting outdoors. And I don't know whether to do this yet, but I have a really good friend who will literally jump on Zoom, and she'll do cold showers with people in their bikinis. Excellent. And she jumps in the sea, and I'm like, I'm going to start doing this because this is just amazing. So I'm thinking about doing something like that too, but I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, you and Gwyneth Paltrow, right? The new Goop series has her with the ice guy, the ice study. It's my newest obsession too.
Wim Hof.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm obsessed. I don't know how I haven't heard about it sooner. I'm down. I don't care if half of it's not going to work or half of it's not true. I think it sounds exciting and scary. And yeah, cold showers are where it starts. For those of us near bodies of water, and when the quarantine's lifted, jumping in the ocean as well, you can get a little finicky around cold water, and our perception of just like, I'm not getting in there, grows with age. As a child, I would jump into a half frozen lake. But now if it's below 70 degrees, I'm like, no, it's freezing. But I believe in it. I think that kind of, and again, it's that shocking of the system. I think it's an awesome thing for you to implement in this 21-day kind of shock of the system that you're encouraging people to do anyway. We are almost out of time, but I wanted to ask you, I always like to end, particularly with this particular podcast series, looking ahead at vegan life, because you have this history with it in the UK and everywhere that you've traveled to. I'm wondering, what do you see where the future, and this has changed significantly since the pandemic hit, but where do you see the future of like the vegan scene heading towards in the UK? Can you surmise or speculate where you think it's going to be headed in the next 3 years, and how will you engage with that?
Do you know what? I've thought about this so much, and I think it's a really difficult question to answer, because my perspective of what's going on is based on the stories I'm being fed by the media, which I don't always agree with, the conversations I have with people, the the access to information I have on social media, which, you know, it is to an extent controlled and limited and based on algorithms. And also in my kind of vegan world, all of my hashtags and all of my so for example, on my Instagram account, all of my kind of friends, and not all of them, but a lot of them are vegan, and I see and I share and follow vegan communities. So in my eyes, it looks like, yes, the whole world is understanding and they're going vegan, because that's my perspective.
Right.
So in all honesty, I don't really know the answer to that, but I do, from a spiritual point of view, I believe there's a big shift going on at the moment. I really do. And I think that more and more people are starting to, just little things like people who I wouldn't have even expected to go vegan or to open up to, particularly with documentaries like not What the Health, that was a good one, but there was another, Game Changers. Everyone who has turned vegan recently, have you seen it?
Yes. Yeah. I
Yeah.
call it the converter. It's
Yeah.
some of the most unlikely vegans I've ever met, you know?
Totally. And I watched the film and I'm like, well, I know why now, and it's mostly men.
Yeah.
So so yeah, I don't really know if that answers your question. Like I feel positive around this movement, and I feel like, you know, I feel like there's definitely good that's going to come through this transition of what we're going through right now, and I do have a lot of hope for that. I do know that it does fuel me to really get out there more, because I know that in the work that I'm doing, I'm coming at it from a different perspective, and I'm allowing people to feel empowered to make their own choices, but educating them that, you know, these foods are going to bring you more vitality and bring you more of perhaps what you've been looking for. And I think that's what fuels me even more, because it makes me want to get out there more and just share my passion, and hope that that impacts so many more people than I expected from the beginning, and that has just a little effect on the movement of the planet. But I do think that more and more people are starting to, you know, people are getting out in their gardens more, who have gardens, and getting their hands in the soil and just connecting to nature.
Mm-hmm.
And innately, just naturally in itself, that's surely that's going to set off questions in their mind. I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think it will. And I think you're right. I don't think it's cavalier or callous to say that, you know, even the pandemic is having people question health, the future of the planet, you know, all of those things are largely what led me to some of the greatest things that I guide my life by, you know, veganism just being one of them. And so, and it's a very unifying factor. We're all, you know, susceptible to COVID-19. No one's immune, like that kind of a thing. It's like a unifying humanitarian issue, which I think that being vegan is as well. And I think it leads to people to different conversations, and dialogue and discussions always good. You know, you just have to keep the conversation going. I completely agree with you.
100%.
Thank you so much for speaking with me today, Helen. I really appreciate all of your information and your time. And for everyone listening, you can get on her website, www.youroptimumhealth.co.uk. I'm assuming it's not just the Brits that can jump on your 21-day adventure with you, everyone else as well?
Everyone else as well, yeah. Probably best to also follow me on my Instagram, because I've got a link on my profile which gives you the links to all of my information, all of my stuff. So,
what is your handle?
So it's Buley, spelled BULEY_HB.
Perfect.
So Helen.
Everyone jump on Instagram, jump on her website, and at very least, like, follow what she's doing. Because I can't wait to find out more about, you know, how this transitions and how it goes over the next year. You know, these kinds of programs tend to lead on to way, Helen, and I'm excited to find out. But thank you once again. I really appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. For everyone listening, one more time, we've been speaking with Helen Buley. She's a health and energy coach. You can contact her at www.youroptimumhealth.co.uk. Thank you for giving us your time today. And until we speak again next time, remember to eat well, be safe, and remember to always bet on yourself. Sláinte.